security concerns that I wanted you to kind of be aware of now that you leveled up, and you feel more comfortable with Django and building web application. So one rule of thumb is that you don't trust all of the information that's submitted directly from the user. You always got to make sure that it's sanitized. So here's an example of the wall that you have to build. Let's say for an example that someone, for the comment, put in something like this. They put in, let's say that this is exactly what they typed in. And let's say that this is exactly what was stored in the database, just the way that it was. And then when you basically displayed this field in the comment field, the browser took this and they thought, okay, I actually need to run a JavaScript interpreter and have it alert hello. So if that's exactly what happened, without you sanitizing this data, and sometimes framework would automatically sanitize the input fields that is more friendly. But if it didn't, what you would see is you would type in script alert hello, post comment, and when the page is reloaded, JavaScript browser would have taken this and it would have displayed an alert message, hello. Now, you may be thinking, okay, that wasn't that dangerous, but what if you added a script file, right? You know, have a script that loads another JavaScript file that basically keeps track of all of your keystrokes. And let's say that, you know, some of these messages were posted on the main page where people log in. So with your script running behind the scene, you can basically detect what everyone is doing, how their mouse is moving, and then also what they're typing into the login form. And you can basically steal their password, and you can do far more damaging work than that. So it's really simple to find out, okay, is my framework automatically sanitizing my data before entering that into the database? Or you know, even when I retrieve it from the database and display that in my templates, it is automatically sanitizing it. Most frameworks will do that. An easy way to check that is put in something like this in one of the fields, or you know, if you're creating, you know, like something like the RESTful, and you can put that in, and if you submit it, and if it just displays something like this, well, it's already sanitized because you know, when it stored it to the database, it basically converted some of these dangerous characters into more HTML friendly. And this is basically the same character, but it's just interpreted differently. So most of the frameworks will do this, but some frameworks will not do that. Just something for you to be aware of. Django will automatically catch that, but you got to know that that's happening behind the scene, because if you use another framework, it may not do that. This would also mean that if you use some of the signs, insert some of the script tags in some fields, and then if it actually alerts hello in a JavaScript pop-up, then you know that you can totally hack into that site. So it's just something to be mindful. And that is related to the SQL injection as well. You imagine that, you know, for one of the first name over here, you put in, instead of, you know, a real character, you put in something like this. Let's say J, and then you put something like this, and then you say like, you know, drop users. Okay, and let's say that, you know, when you took this post data and when you created a SQL query, let's say you created a SQL query that looks something like this. Select, or, you know, or update, let's say, users, and let's say you already had the ID, and let's say J's ID was 15, and I don't remember the exact syntax, but update users. Okay, so I'm a little slow on my SQL query. I don't know exact query on how to update these fields, but how update users? Okay, hold on. Let me pause the video a little bit and let me look up the exact syntax. Okay, yeah, I just Googled it. Okay, yeah, so let's say the SQL query that you're using were something like this, set where name, let's say first name is equal to, you know, and let's just say, you know, for the simplicity, over here, this is where you put in whatever the user passed. So let's say that this is actually what the user typed in, and all you did was basically just insert whatever the user posted. And let's just tweak this a little bit. So let's say instead of this, you actually put something like this. Okay, imagine this is what you ran. You can kind of imagine, and you may have to tweak this a little bit so the query would actually run. You can imagine that, okay, the first, the server would think, okay, you want to do multiple things. One, you want to update users, set first name to be J, and then you also want me to drop the users table. Okay, so you can do a lot of damage if this information is not sanitized. Now, luckily, framework like Django will convert some of these characters to be more friendly. So instead of an actual this, it will convert this to more friendly that you can that's friendly. So again, and this is where you see some of the N sign and LT and some of these other things. I think 39 might be the single quote or double quote. Whatever. But anyway, you just got to be very careful of what the users pass you, because you can inject things. You can say, okay, J double quotation drop users, or you can say update my username to be update my full name to be the password of the admins and blah blah blah. I mean, you can do a lot of things to inject these extra SQL statements that you want people to run. So again, Django will kind of cover that, but as a good developer, just make sure, I mean, you can kind of play around with it. You can pass in some of these things, and then you can, make sure that these are sanitized before they are inserted to the database. But just something to be aware of. And again, Django will take care of a lot of these things for you so that you don't have to worry about it yourself. But for example, if you jump into a framework that's built in PHP, a lot of PHP frameworks will cover this, but some do not. And most of the world's websites are built in PHP, for example. And if you didn't sanitize the data, and there are lots of sites that don't do that, you can totally hack into it. You can insert scripts. You can drop the whole table, or update your password, or change everyone's password so that no one can log in. You can retrieve all of the fields like credit cards and everything and have it be displayed right there under your email and so forth. Again, just something to be mindful of. And how do you check it? Well, you can insert some simple script tags, and if it actually executes it instead of converting it to more more friendly characters like this, then you know that, okay, that site is very hackable. So you can probably build a crawler and find all the websites that are not secure, and either hack them or again help them out. Okay, all right.